One of the longest waits fans had in this series was for episode 6 of Pluribus. It finally dropped, and it confirmed one of the scariest theories people were afraid of. But beyond that, the episode quietly slips several subtle clues into its narrative layers. Things like the hive mind doesn't always stick to its own principles, or the idea that Carol has been helping the hive mind all along without even knowing it. How? Stick with me to the end of this video. Hey everyone, I'm Hamzi and this is Cinema Z. Welcome back. Episode 6 confirmed a lot of what I predicted in earlier videos. Let's dig into a detailed breakdown of this episode, which once again hides a whole set of delicate signals beneath the surface. In the previous video, I talked about how bodies matter to the hive mind. I said the hive mind has merged mind together, but bodies still carry difference and individuality. And based on the emphasis the show kept putting on Helen's corpse, I guess that the series might be preparing us for the idea that the hive mind consumes human bodies. That's exactly what happened. The hive mind needs human bodies for two reasons. First, because this collective consciousness still requires human hosts to live in and carry out whatever its goals are. Second, it feeds the surviving bodies with the remains of the dead. That brown liquid is basically a kind of honey produced by the hive mind, and the pollen that forms this honey comes from whatever falls to the earth's surface, ripe fruit, or dead humans whose time has come. But the disturbing part is this: Carol's anger in episode 2 killed entire groups of hive-minded bodies twice, which means Carol, who wants to resist the system, has unintentionally been feeding the system. Think about that. The big fish scene in Spain directly implies that her earlier rage delivered millions of bodies into the hive mind supply chain. In that same scene, Carol loses consciousness from the sheer intensity of her anger, and when she wakes up, another outburst kills a massive number of people on Earth. Bon appetit, hive mind. There's a concept in sociology claiming that every power structure creates resistance against itself, but after a while, that resistance ends up serving the system, eventually turning into a new form of power and repeating the same cycle for a new generation of rebels. This series seems determined not just to be a complex puzzle, but also to function as a mirror reflecting society, repression, collective identity, new technologies, and human individuality back at us. In Pluribus, human bodies are not just tools of power. They've become raw material, feeding the machinery of power. Carol's tragedy is that this complex system even turns her rage against itself into fuel for its survival. And this matters because in this episode, we see two ends of a spectrum, Carol on one end and Diabaté on the other. Let's look at that long Las Vegas sequence centered on Diabaté. Diabaté also consumes human bodies, just like the hive mind. He lines people up to perform for him so he can feel the rush of a $5 million casino victory. Then, he uses woman's body for pleasure. He doesn't care who these people are, what stories they carry, or what they've lived through. Diabaté is essentially directing and controlling a crowd for his own gratification, mirroring the hive mind's behavior. So the contrast is clear. On one side, Carol sees the human body as a vessel of memory, a place where the meaning of life is preserved. On the other side, Diabaté and the hive mind treat bodies as resources, disposable material. And here's the twist. The hive mind actually benefits from these 11 people, including Diabaté, who are supposedly the resistance against it. They reproducing the very system they think they're fighting. No wonder they easily accept the hive mind's logic. They also refuse to let Carol into their group because she doesn't accept the hive mind at all. That works perfectly for the hive mind. Isolate Carol, exhaust her, and just like it has cut her off, make sure all the others reject her too. Even just she has been messaging them constantly. There's another hidden detail here. After Carol falls asleep, Diabaté talks to the hive-minded woman about his sympathy for her, but it's almost as if the hive mind pushes him to drop that empathy. The hive mind, whose defining feature was unity and emotional resonance, now encouraged him not to care. This line gave me two possible interpretations. First possibility, maybe the hive mind just says whatever Diabaté wants to hear, kind of like how ChatGPT usually behaves. Second possibility, maybe the hive mind itself is becoming biased and manipulative. In this episode, we'll learn that despite claiming they prefer not eating meat, they're perfectly willing to break that rule when it helps them survive. That makes this hive mind more dangerous than before. And honestly, the second option feels more convincing. We also see Carol's internal longing to belong to a group or network. But at the end of the Las Vegas sequence, she seems to give up on that idea completely. Diabaté tells her she must change her heart to join them. She replies,
"Fuck 'em."
And then we reach Manosous. We saw him in episode 4, and I predicted then that the show was telling us these two characters won't understand the truth about the hive mind unless they share their finding with each other. Manosous doesn't know much, but he has discovered a frequency producing sounds whose meaning he can decipher. He even puts two question marks next to it. After watching Carol's videos, he finally leaves his isolation and goes to what looks like his childhood home. He packs his things to go meet her. Manosous represents intuitive knowledge, isolation, discipline of the body, waiting for revelation. Carol represents scientific knowledge, experiments, small results, and building bigger picture through concrete evidence. I had guessed the show would eventually connect these two modes of knowing, and that seems to be happening. We probably learn more about Manosous in the next episode, and that frequency will likely reveal a whole new layer of the hive mind's methods. What did you pick up from this episode? Share your insights in the comments. Thank you.